Just going to kick off then. So welcome to all you guys. Like with any new move, I wasn't expecting this one. I spoke to the lady last week. Yeah, everything's all right. Meeting's cancelled. I never cancel a meeting, and if I did, I would have put it in the group. So there's obviously an issue I need to sort out there. But we're here. We're here, and thanks for the guys who actually made it. A new venue, you know, you lose people along the way, but guys are following what we're doing. They're still here. I've got a few new faces. I've got a very good friend of mine, Andrew, who is going to speak to us a bit later. But we're here anyway. To me, this is a move on and upwards. We're in Highcroft. I think we overspent our time. They weren't giving us the service that they said they did, so it was time to move on. I'm looking at here in anticipation. There's lots of men around, lots of fitness around here. So, you know, I think this is where we need to be right now.
So it's not permanent?
Not permanently. I'm just going to finish on that. Yeah, so someone was asking, so here's where we'll have our monthly meetings from here onwards. We have rejigged the date and slot. It was a bit confusing. Some guys were getting lost in the woodwork on the 4th Tuesday of the month. So we're actually going for the last Tuesday of every single month. So whatever that is, this is where we are. I think that's easier to remember. But our links haven't cut completely with Highcroft. We will do workshops, mental health, prostate, diabetes, etc. still at Highcroft, potentially on a one-to-one basis for the guys who need that. Sorry, I didn't introduce and welcome our committee members. But Gordon, Glenville, and Barrington. Barrington's not here. I don't know what's happened there, but Gordon, do you want to just make yourself known?
Well, I'm Gordon. Welcome to the new ones. I think a lot of people know me. I've had prostate cancer, been through the program, been through the rigmaroles of ups and downs, and I'm here to tell the tale. Wow. So if anybody needs any help with it, obviously I can give a bit of advice because I've been there and done.
Gordon's one of our committee members as well, but thanks for that, Gordon. And Glenville Salmon. Glenville, do you want to just introduce yourself?
Yeah, I can't talk too much because I've actually sung it.
Oh, not again.
I'll ask the point. My name's Glenville. I've been with Derek since it started. You know, I'm just trying to sort out some unforeseen activities. Has anybody got anything what they want us to do? Can you check me and I'll try and do it.
That was around health and well-being. I don't know if Glenn is going to help with anything else, but we're focused on health and well-being. Just updating you, outside of here, it's not just a monthly meeting. I plug into a lot of strategic meetings. I do a lot of other things. I network, promoting the group. And one of the big things I'm trying to do at the moment is to collaborate with other men's health groups. And we've got Andrew from Cedar Nation Church. He hasn't come here to preach to us, well, not today anyway. But he's looking at setting up a men's group. Me and him spoke, and we've got a lot of synergy. So it ain't going to be about Bible bashing. He just sees a need to support men generally around health and well-being. And anything else they want to see him about. If you want to see him outside of here about anything else, you're welcome to do that. But he's going to speak to us a bit later on what we're trying to do between us. Just an update, I've got a mid-contract report that I need to do. And again, the committee had a meeting around some of the points on it. And I have to say that, you see, we get some small grant funding, but with that comes certain terms and conditions. And I'm just putting it out there. It isn't my doing, but here comes numbers, here comes ethnicity, here comes sexual orientation, and all of that. So we're expected to, roll through all of that. The consensus from where guys were is that we wanted this to stay as far as we could in terms of a men's group. While we inadvertently won't be discriminating against anybody, we're not going to walk around with posters and banners promoting the LGBT. That's not what we will be doing. Tonight we had a couple of people scheduled, and this tells me a lot about people around us. We had Paulette Marshall, who does some sort of exercising group, chair exercising, I think, in Erdington. She hasn't shown, which I'm surprised on because it was an opportunity to promote what she's doing. I've got Andrew, as I've mentioned here, and he's going to come in. I've got Midge, who's going to... Oh, here's Barrington. Barrington is our, who just come in. I mean, I'll pause there. I can't say admin, but he's an AI guy, and he's done a lot of clever things that we wouldn't know how to do and do them quickly. Did you want to just introduce yourself, Barrington, and where you come from?
Yes, Jerry says my name's Barrington Robinson, and yeah, I mean, I do AI and a bit of marketing. That's my background, digital marketing. So it's just, I mean, we've developed the website and a social media campaign as well. So it's sort of like building some, I don't know, history with that by posting to that on a regular basis. And it's pardon? Yeah, it's been up and running since what, a couple of months now. The website, yeah, it's launched. So with that, I mean, I try and keep it up to date as far as, you know, the events and things like that. And what's the website? The website, it's basically, we're using an acronym, the Men's Health and Wellbeing Group, so it's mhwg.co.uk. So if you remember the name of the group, it's easy to remember, you know, the acronym, and it's...
We are in a bit of a transition. I mean, we started off with Men's Health Wellbeing, which is actually quite a lot of letters and words. That still is in place, but we're trying to move, and we're just trying to sort out a few gremlins where we're just putting the acronym in, just putting those letters in.
Well, anyone that's still has got that domain can still get to the new website because it's redirected across
Brilliant.
to that. So, yeah, basically the next step now is moving forward with the Expo. Putting this together for the Expo is about another 6 months.
Yeah, well, I'll talk about that because we could do with, a few people have said they're interested in helping us with that, but from this point I want to get a team together and start working on that. Okay then, so without any further ado, I'd like Andrew from Seed and Nations Church to share with us something that I've met with him and spoken with him, and it was around parenting, and I haven't given him a remit. I've met him. He's got a very powerful story himself personally that he may or may not share, but he's going to say a few words about parenting generally. I know a lot of guys here are parents, do have children, and I think that what's in my mind is actually, and I'm talking about, I've got 2 younger daughters, as some of you know, is that clash of the 2 generations, the young and the old. And it's not for us to tell you what to do, but I think it's good for us to discuss as a group parenting and what works for you, what doesn't, and share. So this isn't a formal meeting where we, you know, it's going to be like a classroom. But I think Andrew's going to share something with us, and I think we can have the opportunity to ask him some questions at the end. Andrew?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Oh, I need that?
Yes.
Okay, as we're getting ourselves ready, I would love to know everybody's name at some point. I want to leave knowing everybody's name. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. But what I thought I'd do, rather than me talking at you, I thought we could start off just on that point. If maybe with your neighbor, just have a little chat for like 2-3 minutes, thinking about your relationship, connection, whatever, however you want to phrase it, with your father. And then if you were a father yourself, how it was as a father. And focus on 2 things. What you wish you would have known, and what perhaps you wish you would have done. Does that make sense? Yeah? What you wish maybe you had learned from a father. Now, I mention this because when I'm from Uganda originally, so has anyone ever been to Uganda? No? So Uganda, East Africa. So you've got Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda. My father, so I was born during the Idi Amin regime, if you've ever heard of him. My father died at the end of that regime, 79. It was 2 days before Christmas. We were I think we're going to a christening, we were moving house. Anyway, these militia guys came for him, he tried to get away, had a car accident, that was it. So,
Idi Amin's nothing about this.
who knows? I don't really know. What I do know is that my dad was a little bit vocal in terms of expressing what he didn't think was right. And then my dad was, what I remember, he was kind of genteel but quite strong as well. If he thought something was wrong, he would be quick to say. And in his position, he was the head of the hospital there, so he didn't approve of a lot of things going on. So I was 8 years old, and obviously a loss like that for anybody, whether sometimes, you know, people don't lose a parent, but maybe they don't have that connection. I just had all sorts of challenges growing up, and there were things that I wished I had been able to ask him. Well, even now, I wonder what do you think of what I'm doing now, or how I'm doing this. So I want you to just talk about that with the person on your left or your right. Pick, you know, just choose is good. And I'd like to hear from everyone what you think. These are some of the challenges that are kind of common, or that we've experienced as sons, if you like. And then also, how many are fathers here? Yeah. And even so, there's a saying in Africa. It takes a village to raise a child, right? So we don't, in my language, you don't have the word for uncle, because your uncle is like your father. The word for uncle is the same word as father, and the word for auntie is the same as mother. So anybody can discipline you, right? So if they see you messing about, right? Anybody, Gordon could just crack me over the head, and if he cracked me over the head and my family knew about, my father knew about it, I'd get a double crack. Do you see what I mean? So it was everybody kind of raising everybody. And that's the culture, that's the community. So I want you to just, in twos, just have a little chat. What do you think was missed for you? And what do you think as a parent you missed? So I'm guessing a lot of your kids are not toddlers anymore. Time goes by, and I'm sure we have a few. I wish I could have done that slightly differently. So just take a few minutes. Can we do that? And then, okay. I don't want to break up the happy chat, but I want to try and reel it in. Are you done? You done? You done? Yeah, done? Are you done, guys?
Not yet.
Done, gents? 20 seconds. 20 seconds. 20 seconds. 20 seconds. Because you guys are done first. Ooh, these are. Take a penny for me, a cent. Just one. It's a cent. Don't worry. Don't eat it. Don't put it. Don't.
Which one's a pretty one?
No.
It's American.
The Americans. He's American. Americans, yeah. Just take one. Take one. All will be clear. Yeah, it's only 1 cent. Don't worry. Don't get excited. You can't get anything from the bar with it. Just take one.
It makes sense.
It makes sense. Just take one of these. All right. Take one of these, gentlemen. Okay, take one of these. It's an American. It's a cent. 1 cent. Yeah. No. Okay, guys. Okay, for the sake of time, I think we could talk all night, but I wanted to hear from some of you about what you came across. Now, I've given you all a cent, an American cent, sorry. I've got some Ugandan money here, okay? It sounds like a lot, 1,000. Would you like that? Change that into sterling, that would be amazing. 100, 50, 200. I'll stick that in the middle there. No, it's not worth anything. But I want you to think about value as you're thinking about this, and give you one more thing. Does anyone remember this?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Did anyone have hassle with these? I'm going to pass it around. I'll start. Who wants to start? Nobody wants to start. No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it around to you. Just, if you don't mind, just give me your name, and then tell me what you discussed in your group and what went wrong. Every time something goes wrong, you mess it up a little bit. Is that okay? All right. So who wants to start? Okay. Name would be great. So I
My
can.
name's Trevor.
Trevor, right, Trevor. Tell us what you discussed in your group and what went wrong.
For what it is, I could change all them colours of everyone.
Oh, you could, yeah.
I didn't know my father's name. I knew him all my life. I didn't know his name. I didn't know who he was. Never had
Wow.
a conversation with him.
Mess it up then. Mess it up. You didn't know his name. Yeah, mess it up.
Nothing about him. I knew him every single day of my life. And got two children and mother.
Yeah.
And we didn't have nothing to do with him.
So was he? What did
He
you?
just wasn't there. That's it, simple.
Right. So physically he was on this earth, but he wasn't present in your life.
No.
And when did he pass? How old were you when he passed?
I don't know. He passed. He did pass. I don't know how old he was. When he passed, I didn't even know his name.
Wow.
I have known him all my life.
Wow.
I asked my sister if she knew his name. She had to think about it, and she told me a wrong name.
Wow.
My other sister didn't know his name.
Wow.
What did you used to call him?
Nothing. I never had a conversation with my life.
Wow,
I
Trevor.
never had a conversation with life. I lived with him for the best part of 7 years.
Wow,
Never had a
Trevor.
conversation.
Wow, Trevor.
It was a young seven.
No, it's actually from birth
Birth
to about 1, and then they split up, and then I did 5 years with him and his family.
Wow.
So,
This is all messed up now.
so old were you when you spent the 5 years with him?
5.
So your father didn't speak to you?
I lived in a house with him and his wife and 2 children. They never spoke to me, I never spoke to them.
My.
That's child abuse.
My. Trevor, I'm sorry to hear that.
Actually, it's not child abuse, it's torture.
I
That's.
did that torture.
Wow. Okay, Trevor, I don't know who's going to follow Trevor, but I wouldn't want to follow that. But Trevor, you choose. Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, go on. What's your name, my brother?
My name is Diz.
Des.
Diz, D-I-Z.
Yeah.
I'm Irish.
Des.
Right.
What did you guys discuss?
I had a different type of relationship to
Trevor.
Trevor than with my father. My father was a very strict disciplinarian. His idea of love is completely different. He would do something exceptionally out of this world fantastic, and then he'd do 10 things that you didn't want to hell.
Right, okay. So no
He went
consistency
from one extreme
to the other.
extreme.
Yeah.
But when him and my mother separated, my mother took, because there's 5 kids that belong to my father between them.
Yeah.
And she took myself, my sister that follows me, and my youngest brother. The eldest 2 she left with my dad, and she moved to Southampton because her brother and family were living in Southampton.
Yeah.
Just to illustrate the point. But anyways, he took her to court in the 1960s when it took 5 years to get a divorce. And when the nice eye came through, it ended up in the news of the world because it was news.
Wow.
Because it was news. There was hardly anybody getting a divorce. It was a 5-year process and expensive at that time. So he then took her to court and won custody of his 5 children.
Wow.
Right? So, as I said earlier, he
would do exceptional things because, and the thing is, as much as he was a very strict disciplinarian, of which I'm not crediting him in any way, shape or form, the alternative was to grow up with my mother. And when I go down to Southampton and I see my cousins and stuff like that who actually grew up in the environment and stuff like that, as much as it grieves me to say so, I'm glad that my father brought me up.
Right.
All white people, don't they?
Okay.
Colour doesn't come into it, but
Yeah.
Colour does not come into the evil bastards of every shade that we've got. Colour doesn't come into that. What was I going to say? It's as much as he was tyrannical.
Yeah.
He did. If I asked him a question, anything but pertaining to himself or family and the rest of it, he'd tell me.
Right.
He wouldn't say, well, you know what I mean, he'd tell you.
Yeah.
Right? And if you doubted him, he'd show you the proof. And like I say, that's one of the leaves I've took out of his book.
Yeah, okay.
Because if I tell somebody something, whether it's historical or whatever,
Yeah.
and they go, nah, that's a load of shit, then I will prove it to you.
Mm.
And that was one of the things that
Okay.
he used to do.
Right.
Because my mum used to say a load of things, as you can imagine, about him and stuff like that. And then I'd go back and then I'd say to my dad, Mum says that this and that and the rest of it, and then he's got the letters or he's got the forms or
Yeah.
something. What's it? He's got, there, read it for
Yeah.
yourself, and then come and speak to me.
Right. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that, Diz. We'll have one more. So who are you gonna? You can choose. There we go. There you go, my brother. Give me your name.
My name's Earl.
Oh.
Yeah. My dad's name was Cliff.
Yeah.
He was not a bad man,
Mm-hmm.
but he wasn't a good man either.
Wow. Okay.
His life really came in big periods.
Mhm.
So from the time I was 1 through till 12, he was the typical area Jamaican black man. Hardworking, looked to get a house, make sure everybody's protected in the house. But he would go out to the pub, bookie, sport. That was his thing, pub, bookie, sport. And all the men in that area, they waited until their kids were old enough to be able to help support that habit of bookie, sport, pub. And that's all they wanted to do, bookie, sport.
Gosh, that was the aspiration.
No, you didn't have aspirations.
That was it.
I wanted to go into medicine.
Right.
And I wanted to do chemistry, physics, biology, and I wanted to go to college. My mom wanted me to go to college. My dad said, no, go and get yourself a job. Yeah. You know, I've supported you all these years. You know, you need to help me now. You know, it's time to reverse the roles. Mom won, and I went to college. But my dad really started to get into friction with my mom. And the rest of the kids, not just that. I mean, you know, we were growing up, and his lifestyle was not one that Mom wanted us to mirror, really, because it started to involve other women and stuff like that, because that was the thing of the time. Anyway, cut a long story short, by 13, my age 13, Mom and Dad were divorced, and it meant that I had to grow up very, very quickly.
Quick, yeah.
As the eldest in the family, I had responsibility to look after the kids, make sure that they went to school because Mom was at work. So I grew up pair of big shoulders very, very early on in my youth. And that came back into my life when I joined the band. I was studying to do medicine. But somebody knocked on my window one summertime, it was like this, and said, I hear you play keyboards. We need your help because we've got a gig on Saturday, and it was a Wednesday. Please, can you join us? And my mom was listening to this conversation. And I said to my mom, can I go? She said, yeah, go on then. Well, 3 years later, I was still playing with that band, in a reggae band.
Yeah.
And my dad used to come to the gigs, and he was in the funk era.
Right.
And my dad used to say to the people in the audience, That's my boy up there, you know. He was great. He was great. He used to love the fact that I played in a band. And he got married again, and we didn't really have much to do with him. But I had a daughter, and my daughter was disabled, and she was going to pass away. We knew she was terminally ill. And he wasn't talking to us or really talking to the family. But I went to see him, and I said, look, you know, she's not going to be with us for very much longer. And we kind of cemented our relationship again. And the family coalesced and we got back together with that again. And now we're going into the third part of his life where we're now friends. And we couldn't help but celebrate everything. Christenings, birthdays, anybody's birthday, anybody's anniversary, we would have a meal together. So that's when we were in the good years. Then he got dementia.
Oh, man.
And when he was in dementia state, he would go from nursing home to nursing home. My kids looked after him, my cousins looked after him, but he couldn't remember us. He didn't know.
Wow, what a story.
You know? And he passed away in 2019. His funeral was huge, absolutely massive. But there's one story, if you just give me a chance to just tell you about when my dad turned into somebody I could relate to. We used to, my mum used to go to do an evening job. And one Thursday evening, came back from swimming, and my brother, who's deaf, wanted to watch Top of the Pops, and the other one wanted to watch Simon Templar. And we had a rediffusion TV. It was one of the best TVs. Sat on top of a sewing machine. that was our entertainment. Brilliant. And the one brother pushed the thing, and the station would change. The other one, Top of the Pops. No, Simon Templar. No, Top of the Pops. Simon Templar, Top of the Pops. Bang!
Whoa.
Goes down, sparks, blue smoke, smell, everything. And we're the only kids in the room, Mom's bedroom. Mom comes home from work. She said, your daddy going killing her. Because that's the only thing we keep to entertain you, really, you know? Anyway, she said, I'll see him as soon as he comes through the door. Just stay here. She met him at the door. He came up the stairs. He knew that the TV was broken. He could still smell the smoke in the air. And the last one to touch the TV was my brother Mark.
Yeah.
So we padded him up with comics and somebody's gonna die tonight. So I'm now expecting Dad to kill Mark. And he looks at the TV and he looks at us as kids and he says, nobody's hurt. And we all said, no, we're not hurt. He says, we're going to the bed, because it's about 10 o'clock now. Go to your bed. Because it's pointless me beating anybody. It's not going to bring the TV back.
Wow.
I was vexed. Somebody went like this, you know. And he sent us all to bed. And I thought, Mark, you better not sleep tonight because he's going to come for you. So that action enabled me to know that my dad is a rational, emotional, thinking man when he's ready.
Yeah.
And that was a good lesson for me.
Yeah, that's great.
I thought somebody was going to die that night.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. Oh,
Your
wow.
life is the same thing, you know. When you get up in the morning, if you're going to worry about something you can control, you're sending yourself to early.
Yeah.
Because you can't live up in the boat. Just concentrate on the things you can do.
Yeah.
Or change.
But it's the first time I saw him really be rational.
Yeah.
Previously, if you'd have talked to him the first 12 years,
It would have been different.
he'd have freaked out. He'd have beat all three of us. He'd have,
Well, I gave everyone a penny, right? This penny of yours. It's this cent, right? I was looking for a penny. I couldn't find a penny, so I got cent. I've got this cent. This cent, now, imagine you had a choice, right? Somebody, my brother, what's your name? Rupert. Rupert says, I'm going to give you $1 million, £1 million right now. Or I'm going to give you this cent that will double every day for 30 days. What do you take? Hold on to that thought. Some people are going to take the million. Some people are going to take the cent. What would you take? So we were passing this round. We've been talking about fatherhood, parenting. We've had Trevor's story is just unbelievable. He'll tell you about it later. He didn't even know his dad's name. Yeah. And then we've had Diz was telling us about how, I think you said your dad was fantastic, and then he was just, there was no consistency. And then we've heard a story of almost like transformation, right? It went from, and I was thinking, all our stories are different. Every story is important, right? And we've all got something to contribute. And this is from the 80s, if anyone remembers this. And you said something really... We'll find out. But what happens is life starts off, when you're a kid, everything is rosy. Well, not rosy, you think everything's okay. And then as you get older, you realize, this is not okay. This is messed up. And the only thing that you can do is to be centered. Now, when you start solving one of these, the centers, they never move. Yeah. The centers always stay the same. Who can do this? You can do it, right? So if I don't make it, I'm passing it on to Barrington. Is that right? Yeah. Okay.
Well, I only do by form.
So the centers don't change. So what you've got to do is you've got to line up all the centers. So we'll start with the white, okay? So the white, you've got to, let's see, just line up the green, line up the orange, line up the blue, and then you line up the, what's missing? The red. So you have to form a cross to start off with, okay? And the best way to be centered, now I'm not preaching at you, okay? But for me personally, when my life was just spiraling, the only thing that centered me was Christ. Because the cross, where he died, it represents 4 things. Come in, my friend. There you go. 4 things happened. It's 2026 years ago, right? You had evil, which we've heard some evil tonight. Evil, and then justice. It's an important thing. We all want justice, don't we? Love, which you've heard about, and forgiveness. Those 4 things converge at that point. And it's at that point that you find out you can experience unconditional love, you can experience forgiveness, you can experience hope. You've got to be centered in something. And the great thing about the cross is that it says of Jesus that he never changes, right? Same yesterday, today, and forever. You've got to find something that centers you. If you're a carpenter, or if you're a builder or something, you know that you've got to take the plumb line, you've got to take your spirit level to measure if something's straight. You need something to center you. Like I said, in my culture, they say it takes a village to raise a child. Actually, having other people in your life helps to center you, right? So anyone who's an island, you're going to be drifting from one thing to the other. I mean, Trevor, this is another story for another time, but you'll have to tell us how you end up being so centered, seemingly, to us. Yeah.
Anything I do is wrong, so I just do my thing.
Well, there you go. Okay. So the other thing that I thought about that helped me is 4 things. Number 1, and this is going to make our corners, the things that you say. You know, what you say is really important. So think about it. We've all got 2 ears and 1 mouth. And it's important to listen. You know, when especially when you're young, I knew everything. And then when you become a parent, you realize you just don't know anything. I thought that my mum had no clue because my dad wasn't around, because she was from a different generation. She had no idea. And when you're in that frame of mind, you're saying all sorts of nonsense and you're listening to all sorts of nonsense. So what you take in is really important. What you say is important. Also, what you take in, like I say, what you take in is important as well. So I'm going to make the second corner here. What you're listening to, what's going into your soul, your spirit, if you like, what you're consuming, whether it's Top of the Pops, I consumed a lot of that, not the other programs so much. What goes in is what's going to come out. That's super important. The third thing is where you go. Where you go is really important. The people you hang out with, they say, birds of a feather flock together. If you're in the wrong crowd, which many times I found myself just in the wrong place, it's going to influence you. So, I mean, I never really took up smoking, but you know what it is when you've been in a room full of people smoking, even if you're not smoking, you come out smelling like the smoke. And then the fourth thing is actually what you do with your hands, right? That's important, what you spend your time doing. Once you can get those things organized, you start to put your life, or things start to fall into place. And then when it comes to parenting, or kind of what we got from our parents or what we might pass on, there's a principle that you can never get away from, which is a saying. It's a saying in the Bible, it's a saying in life. What you sow is what you reap, right? So the things that if you play stupid games, you're going to win stupid prizes. And believe you me, I've played a lot of stupid games. So the most difficult thing is the consistency of getting up every day, saying the right thing, doing the right thing, and making the right choices. Now, if you think about your penny, sometimes you make choices and it doesn't really, it's almost like it doesn't really matter it seems like it doesn't matter. Do you know what? Today I've got this revision to do. I won't do it when you're at school. I won't do the revision. You know what? I won't save that money instead of spending it. You know what? I won't listen to what my mum said this, but she doesn't know anything. Every little decision you make adds up, builds up, adds to something. And so you start to consistently do the right thing. When the Queen died, it was the same time as our youngest daughter was going to university. When I took her to university, I was a mess. I don't know why. Nobody told me what it would be like when the kids are gone. I don't know why. I don't know what I was thinking. So I thought I'm going to go down to London. I'm going to go and join the queue. Well, anyway, that completely solved my problems because by the end I could barely stand, right? That was all I was thinking about was my legs. But I met a guy who was an RAF pilot. And the reason he was there was because, this was his boss and so on. He told me the whole story. And then he told me later about when he was trying to become an elite pilot. And he said that in the simulation test, he was doing all these tricks and things and trying to impress. And he failed even though he was like one of the main guys. And an older guy put his arm around him and said, "Hey, son, listen. You're trying to do all these tricks and be clever and do all of this. But all you have to do is to do the basics consistently well. And by definition, you'll be above average." He says, most people don't do the basic things. Basic things, get out of bed, show up on time, just be a man of your word. You know what I mean? Don't spend more than you earn. Just basic things. Show up, presentable. Mind what you're saying, how you're treating people. Ask somebody's name. A simple thing, smile at somebody. And if you do that, do it consistently. That you're going to do it all the time, not just like you're describing your dad. One day it's amazing, and then the next day there's nothing. And then do it well. Just do it as well as you can. Once you start adding up those things, you start to find that, hey, the layers are coming together. So now you're building up. Oh, I've got two. My life's coming together. The next thing that I discovered was this idea of mentoring. Now, giving everybody a penny. So I used to, not whine, but I was kind of grieving for a long, long time. This idea of a father. I almost fantasized about it. But to be honest, there were many people who came into my life. One guy would help me with this. Another guy would advise me about that. I didn't always listen. But I soon started to see that actually, even if I didn't like their delivery, what they were saying was important. And so then I started to think, well, okay, I'm maybe not going to have this father experience that I was hoping for, but I can be that for somebody else. I can start to speak some good things over somebody else. One thing I started doing was to ask people's names. What is your name? What's your story? How can I help you? trying to put into somebody else instead of thinking about what I don't have. And when you come to build the last layer, you've got to build across again. So you've got to help someone else become centered. Now, this is the part where I hope I'll remember how to do this, right? So you build across again. You see, you help somebody to become centered in who they are and what they're doing, and you help them to line up, start to line up their lives. What you're saying is important. What you do is important. You're kind of trying to guide them here, guide them there, and help them along their journey. And then, don't just do it once. It's like you have this amazing group. Show up every time. Every time you show up, it helps somebody else. The stories we've learned today, even today, they enrich our lives. What you're sharing about your experience, what you've been through, is going to help somebody else. If you're not here, they could get that information from somewhere else, but they're not going to get it the way that you would tell it. We all bring a unique something. So, once you start to, now let me see if I can remember how to do this. Once you start to mentor, you know, things start to change. Here we go. Let's see if I can get this right. And people start to become centered. And then the hardest thing to do, or the hardest thing for me, was to just get up and be consistent. I'm an easily distracted person. It's very difficult for me to stay on track. Things distract me. I'll start off well. I'm going to save money, and then I don't save money. I'm going to eat well, then I don't eat well. I'm going to exercise, and I don't exercise. I'm going to go for my PCA test, and then I don't go for the PCA test, and so on and so forth. And the challenge is to just keep going consistently. When you're doing things consistently, it doesn't always look like anything's happening. But in the background, it is. So like you're saying, once you've learnt the pattern, you start to just follow the pattern, apply the pattern. Yeah, did it work? Yep, let's try it again. You try it again. See if it works. Just keep doing the right thing. Did it work? Let's try it again one more time. Let's do it. Maybe it'll work this time. I get up, I show up, I go to work, I do my best. Is it working? No, I'll try it one more time. My mum used to say, if at first you don't succeed, try again until, boom, you're in. Now, what did you decide about your penny? Are you going to get £1 million from, it's Rupert, right?
Yes.
£1 million from Rupert now? Or are you going to get the penny that multiplies?
The penny.
Why?
No, so I wouldn't. I take the million and I invest it.
Okay. So tell me how you're going to invest your million.
Put it in a bank or put it in some investment.
How much interest will you earn?
Top dollar if possible.
Yeah, the penny will keep on multiplying.
Okay.
It goes at
So
3 million.
on day one, you've just got a penny. On day two, you've got 2. Day 3, you got 4. Day 4, you got 8. Day 5, you got 16. By the 10th day, you've only got £5, 12p, right? Right? Then it goes £10, 20. By day 20, you're doing a little bit better because you're on 5,242. Then, that's when it starts getting exciting. Day 21, 10,400. 22, 20,971. 23, 40,000.
But I might not live long enough. That is just what I might get.
No. This is 30 days.
No, I'm looking at my £1 million peso.
30 days. 30 days.
I want certainty.
30 days.
That is
Okay.
uncertainty.
24, 83,000. 25, 167,000. 26, 335. 27, 671. 28, 1.3 million. 29, 2.6. And by day 30, you're on 5.3 million. Now, the point is, there's something called the power of compounding interest. When you keep doing the same thing, basics consistently well. In the end, the end result is incredible. When you talked about your dad and you said there were so many people at the funeral, it almost doesn't matter how you start. There must have been a point where something switched even where he's like, you know what, the TV is not going to be an issue. And from that moment, not even from that moment, he probably made the decision in private. And that's the legacy they left behind. And I just wanted to encourage you guys, whatever your story, some things are like this paper money. It looks like it has value, but there's nothing in it. But the thing in your hand that you've got, that you know, hey, I can show up. I can be present. I was talking to Brian, and he said his dad just wasn't present. But we can be present. And when you're present, it makes such a difference. So I want to encourage you, whatever you've got. I mean, you can hang on to that scent if you want as a reminder. But I wanted to also leave you with something. I've got something on the table there, which is a little Gospel of John. You can take it away. Just read a little bit every day about this. It's how I became centered. Reading about this guy who was able to sacrifice for the good of others. And I think as men, that's one thing that we can do. And what I've noticed, especially in the King Standing area where we were before, there were many, I mean, when I grew up, I did not have many role models, people I could look up to and say, here's a guy who's, overcome the odds, or he's working, or he's doing this. But you can be that example for someone else. And yeah, but you can be, because you've had that negative experience, you can help somebody. One of the biggest problems I think for young people today is they just can't see, they don't have that example to follow. And I think every one of you can do that. Yeah. So thank you for listening to me. I'm sorry if I took too long, but I'm an African and I'm a preacher, so it's not going to be short. Thank you. Yeah, you can keep this. Yeah.
What's your last name?
Kissumba.
Kissumba.
Yeah. Kissumba.
Thanks
Yeah.
very much for that.
Yeah. If you don't want to keep it, I'll take the penny back. Yeah. You put it here. I'll put it here in the middle, and you can.
You tell me something. Money for money.
Yeah. If you want to invest it, that's good. Thank you, Derek. Thank you for.
Thanks very much for that.
He's got guys in his midst and within his church, and he's looking at setting a men's group up, and we're looking at.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
We'll see some of these guys as well at some point in time.